What's up, guys? How's everybody doing? Welcome back to another video, and if you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm Ann Blackwood, your Silicon Valley Sage Sister, here to bring consciousness to the forefront of your daily life to make life a little kinder and simpler. And today I wanted to talk about how manifesting, when it comes to what I call spiritual bookends, like doing the morning and nightly routine, works from a scientific perspective. Because we understand how it works from a spiritual perspective when it comes to connecting with the quantum wavelengths that we connect with in our brain, and using that to shift into different realities. And when it comes to, and that's a little mix of science and spiritual. But when it comes to the science, the psychology, it comes down to manifesting, comes down to something we call autosuggestion. Because when it comes to the law of attraction, that's something we see play out in our lives, whether we realize that there is this spiritual universal law of attraction or not. We know from the physics perspective that everything has an equal and opposite reaction. And so when you apply that to how we live our lives, whether that be something we suggest to ourselves or something we do, like it's not just about like the physical physics of things in that sense, like pulling a bow and arrow or something like that. But that actually is just the way our world works in general. That's why the law of attraction and the way it's been sort of boiled down for us is so genius. Because I had been noticing this even before I knew anything about the spiritual concept of the law of attraction, which was that everything we do leads to something that happens in our lives, whether it's something we want. So that also means by, inductive reasoning? That deductive reason? I can never get those straight. We're learning about inductive and deductive reasoning on a deeper level in my Rosicrucian work right now. So I've been trying to get those straight, but it's more my memory rather than my understanding. I have that issue when it comes to lots of things. But anyway, when it comes to what happens in our lives, you can always see an event and trace it back, or see what you've done and then trace it forward to the possible outcomes. But if you know what the outcome was, you can always trace that back to something you did, even if it's something that sort of became out of your control. Like an extreme example of this would be a girl gets raped in an alley. Well, if she hadn't walked down that alley, she wouldn't have gotten raped. I'm not saying it's her fault. I'm just saying, as an extreme example, you can always trace back everything that happens to you to something you did. No blame, just saying. So, we know this is how the world works, whether you're coming at it from a spiritual perspective or not. So, when it comes to specifically manifesting, and I just showed you guys through a couple of videos, some morning routines and a night routine that I do. And this comes down to what we call autosuggestion, which is that our subconscious has perfect recall. And so you can ask yourself to do something, remember something, and then leave it to your subconscious, and especially someone who has a very healthy body and therefore healthy brain. I didn't want to say healthy mind, but physically a healthy brain. That it can do those things for you. This is one of the reasons why I don't like the idea of angel numbers, I just never explained it this way, is that when we psychologically tell ourselves, if we see 1111 or 111 or 222 or 333 on our clocks, that means something's good. That means that something good is going to happen. We've given ourselves an auto-suggestion to have that happen. And the more we do it, the more we get into the rhythm of doing it, because it's a reward system. We're rewarding ourselves with our own positive emotions. So first you've given yourself the auto-suggestion of, look for this on my clock, wherever that might be. Then when you see it, you give yourself a reward. So you are conditioning yourself to want to repeat this behavior. Auto-suggestion. We don't realize we're doing it, but our subconscious is taking it in and saying, I should, because we've said to ourselves, whether we realize or not, that we should do something because we'll get something good out of it. Our subconscious takes that with its perfect recall and runs with it. And then the first time it happens, you give yourself that positive reward. And then you're off to the races from there. Like I said, I see 4:20 on the clock all the time. All the time. It has no meaning for me whatsoever. But I've just gotten into that biorhythm of checking my phone at that time. Maybe because I used to laugh at it and be like, 4:20, marijuana. Even though I have zero connection with such things on a individual personal level. Like, again, positive behavior conditioning through positive response. So when it comes down to doing something in the morning, like a meditation, or doing something at night, like a meditation, especially with things like affirmations. And I actually did a little mini class workshop on how to form the best affirmations for manifesting on my Patreon. I can't remember if that one's available to the Awakening tier or not, because there are some things that aren't available to the Awakening tier that are available to all other tiers. So when in doubt, sign up for the Ascending tier. Unless you want to sign up for the Sanctuary because you're awake and not woke. But otherwise, when in doubt, Ascending, Sanctuary, Enlightening tier, if you're going to sign up for anything, any level of my Patreon, if you want to get it all, get one of those three, because the Awakening is the only tier that's like my balanced black with light that doesn't get all of the content. The other tiers have their own little exclusive benefits, but as far as content goes, journal exercises, guided meditations, videos, workshops, my course, all the other three tiers have those same things, and then different benefits from there. The Awakening tier does not. So anyway, I did a video on this, and that's because we can create better auto-suggestions for ourselves the more we put things a certain way. And if you want to find out more about that, go check out my Manifesting 101 course. I'll put the link to Patreon in the description, and then the title of that course. Workshop. Single video workshop. But yeah, so when we are speaking affirmations, we are giving auto-suggestions to our subconscious. And our subconscious leads us, guides us to do things that we don't realize it's doing. It's connected with our unconscious mind. And so it can get us to do things that we otherwise haven't thought through in any way. Or I should say, haven't thought through or even thought about in any way. So we want to just be very conscientious and aware of, I mean, this is why I talk all the time about we are what we consume on a mind, spirit, as well as body level. Because everything is auto-suggesting our subconscious and unconscious without us realizing it. Everything is influencing us without us even realizing it. There are so many things that we take in that we don't even realize we're taking in the moment. So this can have very positive effects, and it can have very good effects. Very good effects. This can have very good effects. It can also have positive effects. It can also have negative effects. I guess so. I meant good, but it can have both positive and negative as well as good and bad effects. It can add things to our lives. It can take things away. It can be good or it can be bad. So we just want to be very consciously aware of the auto-suggestions that we are taking in, and especially the ones that we are giving to ourselves. Because at any moment we could say things, and this is why things like my speech detox came about on Patreon, for Patreon. This is why my speech detox or I call it my mindset detox, is what I call it, because it's not just about speech. It's our speech comes from our mindset. And then I did the mindset detox part 2, which is about feeling detox rather than just the speech detox, because I get even deeper into why the speech matters. So being aware of, especially when we do things like morning and before bed or in bed, meditations, mantras, affirmations, spiritual practices, we want to be just that much more careful of how we do these things, because our brains are switching wavelengths. And so we become, as we become less conscious and coherent, we become even more susceptible, because we are getting closer and closer to our sub and unconscious mind. Let's see, is there anything else? So yeah, that's literally why, from a scientific perspective, things like affirmations and morning and nighttime routines work, because of autosuggestion and because of positive conditioning, positive emotional conditioning. You are adding something that is giving you good feelings, and that is encouraging you to do it more and more. This is how we create habits in general, through conditioning ourselves to want to do them through rewards, even if that's just the feeling good, even if it's just the reward being us feeling good. And trust me, feeling good is quite the reward when it comes to things that we use to determine whether or not we'll do things moving forward. So, yeah. I just thought I would throw that out there, because I am absolutely fascinated by and with the science behind the magic, the method behind the magic. That's one of the reasons why I love being a Rosicrucian, is because that's one of the things we really get into. I always like to say that, and I got this from a friend of mine, metaphysics is just physics we don't understand yet. And I believe that that's true, that magic is just science we don't understand yet, or as well. or magic is just science. We don't have a 3D physical understanding of, or duplicatable process for, that can be duplicated by anyone. Because that's what science is all about, having a concrete method that can be duplicated by anyone. So it's just absolutely fascinating to me, because I do absolutely very much believe in the spiritual realm. But I also know that from history, there used to be things we didn't understand the way that we understand them now. They used to be more magical, that is now a little more mundane. I mean, if you think about it, before our modern concept of science came back to us, and before our really modern concept of science was formed, people used to think that physical objects had emotions and what's the word for it? I want to say volitions, but I don't think that's what I'm actually reaching for. Emotions is a good one. Driving me nuts. What is that word? Intentions is another good one. People used to think physical objects, like someone back during the medieval era would have thought that this cup, because it was made out of a particular material, that it had, emotional significance, in the sense that it itself had emotions, and that it itself had influence over us because of its intentions. Now we look at this as an inanimate object and can't imagine this cup feeling something the way we feel things. We can't imagine it having any sort of motive or mindset or cognitive ability. People used to think that inanimate objects had motive, had motivation, had intentions and emotions, is the best way to explain that. So, things change. Things change. Our understandings of things change. And I would not necessarily speak to which one is better. I think that if I was going to attempt to, I would say that a balance of them would serve us. Being able to, maybe not do it for my cup, but do it for the trees. Things like that might be to our benefit. I haven't formed a strong opinion on that one way or another because I haven't thought about it enough. But yeah. So I just want to make everybody aware that when it comes down to it, a lot of the things that we do spiritually have practical application, and vice versa. And not just application, but meaning. Like I said, things like the law of attraction, you can see play out in the real world, even if you have no spiritual concept of it whatsoever. And you can see how, through things like the concept of autosuggestion, things like affirmations and morning and nighttime spiritual rituals, when you're the closest to being in and out of sleep, have scientific and psychological significance, and that they will always intermingle. They will always affect each other. They will always interact. We are one. We are all one. It is all one. Thank you guys for joining me for another video. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Don't forget to check out the links in the description. That includes my Patreon, where I have so much amazing videos, journal exercises, guided meditations, workshops, my course, the Intuitive Lifestyle course, which is the basis of what I do with my clients one-on-one. I have the links to sign up with me one-on-one. So if you're really ready to heal, grow, and expand your consciousness, I would love to have you. And you can either email me or sign up for a free clarity call, or you can just sign up for a package. When you sign up for one of my session packages, all you are committing to with that payment is the amount of sessions that you are committing to. And from there, everything else is personalizable. So if you know you have something you want to work on, we can work on that. If you're not sure what you want to work on, I have things for us to work with to get started until you figure it out. Or if we never come upon a particular goal you want to work on, I have a whole program to help anyone that comes my way make their life, as I say, kinder and simpler, happier and healthier. I've also got a bunch of other links in the description, like doTERRA. If you like to get rid of, if you would like to, or if you are the kind of person who doesn't like, I'm starting to get tired. Let me rewind that. doTERRA. If you are trying to get all the synthetic chemical-based products out of your home and replace them with plant-based products, or if you're the kind of person who really loves plant-based products, plant medicine, but haven't quite found the perfect thing yet, doTERRA is your one-stop shop to replace all of the synthetic chemical-based products in your home with pure, like the purest, the cleanest plant-based products and plant medicine. And that actually work. Like, that is one of the biggest hurdles that I've come across when trying to replace things in my home with plant-based products, is that often they don't work, or they don't work as well as the chemical product does. doTERRA, cleanest, purest, and actually the best, because they actually work as well, if not better, than the chemical-based products. So, yeah. Don't forget to check out all of those links in the description, and there are more. And as always, may the energies you serve you well. And let's keep making our way through.